but I'm going to use Proverbs in a sense this morning. Proverbs 31, a Proverbs 31 mother. Sometimes we say a Proverbs 31 woman. I'm going to use it today in the sense of a Proverbs 31 mother. It's quite a long chapter. I'm going to take some verses from it and to just bring it to where I want to be. I'm going to start from Proverbs chapter 31, starting at verse 25 through 28. And those that are able, we'll just stay, those that are able to stay, and others that are not able, God understands. We just want to. I'm going to start at verse 25 from the 31st chapter of Proverbs. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. All right, you may be seated. A Proverbs 31 mother. I'm going to use as a subtopic. Motherhood is a sacred partnership with God. If you look in the 25th verse, you see strength, honor, rejoice. 26th verse, you'll see wisdom and kindness. And 27, she eateth not the bread of idleness. 28, if you see her children arise up and call her blessed, and her husband praises her. As I went through back and looked at King Lemuel, was talking about his mother here. It was a lot of things. He said she was just a godly woman, and things that he said about her, and she was just a woman of wisdom. It was just a lot of adverbs he used to describe her. Just woman of character. And there's a lot of things in here that we don't expect, and it will take a lifetime for a woman to live up to all the things that King Lemuel was talking about when he praised her mother, his mother at that time. But there is conditions to really in motherhood. Let us just think. For true motherhood, you have got to have a relationship with God. You've got to be in, we partner in we partner with a lot of things. You see in corporations, they partner and all these things, they get together, we partner with one another. And Sister Melba and I can partner together in things, in certain fellowships, we get together in partnership. But with motherhood, mothers, I hope you can agree with me, we need God to help us in things, carrying out the things in motherhood. A mother needs guidance with God to deal with your young children as well as your adult children. So we got, adult children to deal with. And we need a daily experience with God. Sister Melvin talked to us about before we start our day. We need to pray for that day. And surely we need that guidance. And in motherhood, you need to partner with God. God, those are blessings. A lot of people say, but the Bible said they are blessings to you. The children that you're given are blessings from God. And you are going to need God to help you to deal with them. And you will find that on a mother's prayer life, and we got to remember too, that Samuel had a mother named Hannah. And she was a praying woman. Yes. And she had Samuel, she went before God, and he gave her Samuel. And in turn, she made up a sacrifice. And she took Samuel back to the temple, gave him back to God. And this is what a lot of times we bring our children as mothers. We bring them back to God. And of course, he stayed in the temple. He stayed there. She carried him back at a certain, weaned him, carried him back at a certain age, and she gave him back to God. And he stayed in the temple there. And Mary, we had mothers, another example, the mother of Jesus. Yes. And another thing she has said many times, even when they were at a wedding and he turned the water into wine, and then she told the people there, do what he tells you to do. And that's, as mothers, we've got to tell our children about God in our households. There is a responsibility. So I want to lay out, even men, we're not putting, you aside today because your day is coming. But that is part of yours too. You're going to have a partnership with God to help the women, the mothers, with the children. And so we've got to, there were many examples of praying women in Bible times. And also women, we've got to set an example by saying, as Joshua says, as for me and my house, I will serve the Lord. And also, let not your home become a battlefield.
All right.
Battle room. It cannot be. We have got to sit down and tell our children the way it is. Give them, oh yes, show them love. That love has got to be shown. If we won't comfort them, there's going to be sickness with your children, and you'll have to comfort them and those things. But let them know as mothers that you have to be obedient. There is God, home, and then the church, and then you're going to have to go to school. And you have to understand that there is a type of obedience that you are going to have to give to, as well as in the home and as you go out among your peers everywhere. There is going to be a type of obedience and respect as taught from mothers to your offspring, to children, that you have to be obedient. And sometimes I have been kind of amazed when I look at Dr. Phil. I don't know if some of you have been looking at relationships in the home with the children and mothers. And I've got, when I saw the mothers screaming and hollering, and I said, Lord, have mercy. What is going on in our generation, realizing different generations. But I came from an old school. Might as well tell you young people, I came from old school. And I never experienced, when I looked at that, when I saw the mothers were screaming and hollering at their children, and the language they were using, I said, Lord, help us. My mother would had me, I don't know where, by then.